Hello all, welcome to Paritranaya. In this class, we will be discussing about another very important geographic topic, that is India's climate, vegetation and wildlife. So here, first we shall start with climate. But before understanding climate, we need to understand about a phenomena called as weather. So what is weather? Day-to-day changes in the atmosphere. We call it as weather. So what are the various changes that take place in atmosphere? The changes that may take place maybe with respect to temperature, or it may be with respect to rainfall, or it may be with respect to sunshine, etc. So these changes, they may not be same all the day, they will change. For example, if today temperature is 30 degrees Celsius, then tomorrow it may be 28 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Celsius. So the variations, they change from day to day. Okay. Similarly, rainfall, if today it is 10 centimeter rainfall, then tomorrow it may be 15 centimeter rainfall. So the rainfall also varies. So the day-to-day changes that we witness, we call it as weather. Okay, day-to-day changes that we witness, we call it as weather. So some days they may be too hot, or it may be cold. It may be weather may be sunny, or weather may be cloudy. Weather may be windy, or weather may be calm. So these day-to-day changes, we generally refer to them as weather. Now the next question comes, what is climate? Then what is the difference between weather and climate? So as we saw, weather changes every day. Okay, weather changes every day. But climate, what is climate? Average weather condition measured over many years. For example, if you take a particular place, or let us consider India itself as an example. So in India, generally we witness rainy season in the month of June, July, August, September. Next, generally it will be cold winter season from December to February. And when it comes to March, April, May, it will be considered as summer season. So these are the general weather conditions or patterns, and they do not change on a daily basis, but once in 40 to 50 years there will be a shift. So such a condition we call it as climate. Okay, such a condition we call it as climate. And within this, for example, if you look at the southern part of India, so generally it will not be too much cold, or extremities will be less. But if you go to northern part of India, so in summer season they'll experience too much hot, and in winter season they'll experience too much cold. So why these variations? So all these variations also, they are the reflection of climate. Okay, so the climate which is prevalent in the southern part of India is different from the climate which is prevalent in the northern part of India. Similarly, the climate which is prevalent in the eastern part of India might not be the same which is prevalent in the western part of India. So when it comes to climate, there are various factors which play a role. Similarly, when it comes to weather also, these all factors play the role. So which are they? One is location. So already we have seen about the location. So in order to identify any location, we require two important parameters. One is latitude and longitude. So where the region is present. So whether it is present close to equator, or it is present close to Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn, or close to Arctic Circle or Antarctic Circle. So based on these parameters, so what kind of climate will be prevalent there can be determined. So one is location. Location plays an important role. So when it comes to India, so where is India located? We already know about the India's latitude and longitude. The latitude and longitude points which bound India. So if you are not aware, then I will urge you to watch the videos of the previous class where we have discussed about the latitudes and longitudes bounding India. So we know that the latitudes that bound India, that is 8 degree 4 minutes north to 37 degree 6 minutes north. Similarly, the longitudes bounding India, 68 degree 7 minutes east to 97 degree 25 minutes east. So where India is located between these two latitudes and between these two longitudes. So this also plays a role with respect to the climate which is prevalent in India. Next, similarly, for every location, the important parameter that affects is location. Next is altitude. Altitude means height. So we know at the sea level, the temperature will be less, but as we move towards the higher altitudes, then temperature will come down. So here, what we understood, even altitude of a place, it also has an impact on the climate which that place is witnessing. So altitude has a relation. Similarly, distance from sea. So in the forthcoming classes, we will be understanding that as the distance from the sea increases, as the distance from the sea increases, so there will be what huge contrast with respect to what climatic conditions. For example, if you look at the southern part of India, so it is located close to ocean. So here there will be no extremes in temperature. So temperature will be moderate. But as we move what far away from the seas, so these regions, so here we experience extremities. Either it will be too much hot in summer season and it will be too much cold in winter season. So again here, distance from the sea, it also has an impact on the climate of that area. That's why the climate which is prevalent in what Jammu and Kashmir will not be the same as the climate that is prevalent in southern part of India. Next, relief. So what kind of structures? So whether it is flat or whether it is plateau or whether it is mountain, that also plays a role in governing the climate of that particular region. Next, here few examples we have taken. Okay, so now two regions. One is Jaisalmer and Bikaner. So where are these places? These places are located in the state of Rajasthan. So these places, they are very hot, very hot. So the climatic condition of this region is very hot. But if you take two places of Jammu and Kashmir, that is Dras and Kargil, so they are freezing cold. So the climatic condition which is prevalent in Jammu and Kashmir at these two places is freezing cold. So why these changes? As we saw, the location is different, the altitude, distance from sea, relief, all these factors or parameters will have an impact on the climate of that particular region. Next, coastal places like Mumbai and Kolkata. So Mumbai, here we have Mumbai. Next, Kolkata in Bengal. So they have moderate climate. So compared to the Rajasthan's two places, Jaisalmer and Bikaner and Dras and Kargil, so here we experienced too much hot and here we experienced too much cold. But here the climate is moderate here and here. So what is the reason? Because they are close to what? These oceans. Okay, so they are very close to coastline. So that is why there is a moderate impact when it comes to climate. So this is the basic difference between what? Weather and climate. So weather changes, the changes do take place on a day-to-day basis, and generally climate also do change, but after a long period, probably 50 or 60 years. So what does it mean? Probably after 50 or 60 years, the temperature which is prevalent in Gujarat, it might start increasing or it might start decreasing. So these are these average values might change only after a long period of around 40 to 50 years. But when it comes to weather, on a day-to-day basis, it changes. Okay, it changes. Not even on day-to-day basis, but even in one single day, the temperature which is prevalent at 1 o'clock might not be the same which is prevalent at 3 o'clock. So, okay, even in a single day, there will be variation in weather. Okay, variation in weather. Next, in India, we have what? 4 major seasons. So, very important. So, which are those seasons? Already we are aware. One is cold weather season. We often call it as winter season. And this will last from December to February. Okay, it's not that on November 31st something will end and on December 1 it will start, but approximately from December to February we will witness cold weather season or winter season. And from March to May, March to May, we witness hot weather season, or we also call it as summer season. And next, from June to September, we call it as rainy season, or we also refer to it as southwest monsoon season. And from October to November, we call it as autumn season or season of retreating monsoon. So all these things we are supposed to what? No. From December to February, winter season; March to May, summer season; June to September, monsoon season; October to November, autumn season. Okay, autumn season. Now let us try to look at these different seasons at a superficial level. In the forthcoming classes, again we will be discussing about these topics in detail. So first one is cold weather season. So cold weather season, and all these seasons we are discussing only with respect to India. So when we are discussing with respect to India, we also need to know where exactly is India located. So in the global map, we know that India is located in the northern hemisphere. And we have also seen about the revolution of the earth. And we also discussed about what summer solstice, winter solstice, and solstice, all these things. Okay. Now, let us try to connect these two things. So, cold weather season or winter? Cold weather season or winter? So, which month it will be? Approximately December. So, if you look at December, so December, here we have December. So, this is our December season. So, what we are witnessing here? Winter solstice. So, where is India located? So, India is located in the northern hemisphere, somewhere here. But in the month of December, we shall only confine our discussion first for December. So, now what happens? So, India is present in the northern hemisphere, somewhere here. Somewhere here. Now, what happens during December? During December, the northern hemisphere is far away from the sun, whereas the southern hemisphere is towards the sun, is tilted towards the sun, whereas northern hemisphere is away from the sun. So what happens? The amount of heat which the northern hemisphere receives is less in December season, or in the month of December. So the amount of rainfall which the northern hemisphere receives in the month of December will be less, whereas in the month of during summer solstice, we have seen that the northern hemisphere will receive more heat. So now in the month of December, less heat is received from the sun in the northern hemisphere, and as India lies in the northern hemisphere, obviously India will receive less heat during which month? December month, and that season we call it as winter season or cold weather season. So sun rays do not fall directly in the region. So whether the sun rays do fall, yes, they do fall, but they do not fall directly. They do not fall directly like it happens in what? Summer season. Okay. So here sun rays do not fall directly in the region. That is why temperature in India will be quite low in northern India, especially northern India. Okay. Temperature will be quite low. So because of this, we experience what? Winter season. Next, hot weather season. So when will we witness hot weather season? Here, probably in the month of what? April, May, and also June as well. So this is our summer solstice. So during summer solstice, what happens? Here we have Earth, and this is northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. So the northern hemisphere will receive more and more heat during this season. So that's why we experience too much heat. So that is called as summer season or hot weather season. Sun rays more or less directly fall in this region. So sun rays more or less they directly fall on India. That is why we experience what? Summer season. Hot and dry winds called lu blow during day. A very important point. So from UPSC point of view, they may frame a question like this. So a term loop is a phenomena associated with summer season or winter season. We need to know it's a phenomena associated with summer season and not winter season. Okay, not winter season. So this was about what? Hot weather season. Next, southwest monsoon season or rainy season. So we know that rainy season it begins in the month of June and ends in the month of probably September. Okay, September. The month of September. So marked by onset and advance of monsoon. So winds from Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, they blow towards land. So they carry moisture with them. When these strike mountain barriers, rainfall occurs. So here we have Arabian Sea and here we have Bay of Bengal. So this is sea, this is land. So winds will start blowing in this direction. Winds will start blowing in this direction. Okay. In this direction, winds will blow. So when the winds blow over the sea, so what they will do? They will carry the moisture content. So as they are blowing over the sea, so whatever the moisture content will be there, so it will absorb it. The winds will absorb it. So when they are moving towards the land, on the land, they will encounter what? For example, mountains. If you look here, here we have what? Western Ghats. Here also we have Eastern Ghats. So when these winds, they strike Western Ghats, or these winds when they strike Eastern Ghats or other mountains, so what happens? Whatever the moisture that they are carrying, so that moisture will be released in the form of rain. And this happens from June to September. And that season we call it as what? rainy season. Okay, rainy season. Next, season of retreating monsoon. So now what happens? Initially, first rainfall will occur in Kerala. Next, rainfall occurs in Karnataka, and so on. Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and so on. So afterwards, when the rainy season is declining, when the rain is coming down, now what happens? So rain will first stop in Uttar Pradesh, next it will stop in Madhya Pradesh, next it will stop in Telangana, and so on. So it will get reduced in this direction. When it starts, it moves from what? South to north, but when it is stopping, it moves from north to south. So that phase, we call it as what? Retreating monsoon. So winds move back from mainland to this is Bay of Bengal. Okay, so here they'll start moving back. Okay, so they'll start moving back. So that season we call it as season of retreating monsoon, or we also refer to it as monsoon, autumn season. Okay. Next, southern parts, particularly Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, receive rainfall. So this is a very important point to note. So during autumn season, which regions do receive rainfall? So generally Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So they receive rainfall during retreating monsoon. Next, so already we saw what is climate. Next, so here Mawsynram in Meghalaya receives the world's highest rainfall. So in the context of climate itself, so we saw the variations. What were those variations? So variations with respect to what? Jammu and Kashmir being too cold, Rajasthan being too hot, coastal places having moderate climate. At the same time, Mawsynram in Meghalaya. So here in Mawsynram in Meghalaya, this place, it receives the world's highest rainfall. But this is the type of climate which is prevalent in what? Meghalaya. But at the same time, Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, here it may not rain at all. So the climatic conditions prevalent in Meghalaya and Jaisalmer, or that is Rajasthan, are different. So this indicates the diversity with respect to climate within India. Next, India's climate type. So generally when we are defining the climate of a region, we give a name to it. So India also has a particular climate type, and what is that climate type? We call it as monsoon. Why we call it as monsoon? Because the Arabs, when they were traveling to India, so they witnessed change in the reversal of the direction of the wind. So winds previously which were blowing in this direction, they noticed that they started blowing in this direction after a few days. So this seasonal reversal in the direction of the wind, so they call it as what? Mausim. And from this Mausim word, that Arabic word Mausim, so we have the climate type called as monsoon type. So what is monsoon type? Where seasonal reversal in the direction of the wind takes place. Okay, takes place. That's why India's climate type is of monsoon type. So why do we witness monsoon type climate? Because India has a location in tropical region. Okay. Most rain is brought by monsoon winds. So what is tropical region? We know that Tropic of Cancer, here we have equator, and here we have Tropic of Capricorn. So we already discussed about these important latitudes in the previous class. You can refer that video. So the region which lies here from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, so this region we call it as tropical region. Okay, tropical region. Now if you look at India, so whether it is located in tropical region, okay, partially it is located in tropic region. Why? Because here we have Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north. So from this region to this region, it is in tropical area, and the area above it is, we call it as subtropical. Okay, subtropical. But overall, the major part of India lies in tropical region. Okay, lies in tropical region, and because of its location in tropical region, most rain is brought by monsoon winds. Okay, monsoon winds. That is why we refer to India's climate as monsoon type. Okay, monsoon type. Next, in India, agriculture is dependent on monsoon. So in few other countries, agriculture might not be completely dependent on monsoon or on rainfall. They may be dependent on some kind of irrigation facilities and all. But here, predominantly, Indian agriculture is dependent on monsoon. That is why if there is good monsoon, it means there will be an adequate rain and bountiful crop. So good yield will come. If there is no proper rainfall, then obviously the yield will decrease and it will have an impact on food security. Okay, food security. So in this way, how we'll understand that how geographical related aspects are connected to our economics. Okay, our economics. Next, natural vegetation. So what is natural vegetation? Anything which grows naturally without anyone's interference or intervening, then we call it as natural vegetation. For example, when we are growing something in our garden, then on a day-to-day basis, we have to supply water, we have to supply nutrients or fertilizers and all for their proper growth. But in case of natural vegetation, there is no human intervention. So through natural water, through rainwater, and through the nutrients which are present in the soil naturally, so these will grow. So such vegetation, we call it as natural vegetation. Again, within this natural vegetation, there are classifications. Few of the vegetation, we call them as bushes. Next, few other vegetations, we call them as what? Shrubs. Okay, palm, grass, trees. So when we are preparing initially, we will not be aware of all these different types of vegetation. Most frequently, we are aware of trees and grasses. Even though we witness what bushes and shrubs, often we get confused. So to avoid that confusion, first let us have a look into these different types of vegetations. So what is bush? So generally bush appears like this. Okay, bush. Next, this is shrub. So sometimes we may refer to shrub as bush or a bush as shrub, so it will not make a significant difference. Bush, shrub, palm. Okay, so this is an example of palm. So generally we use palm oil. So this is how the palm tree appears. Okay, appears. And next, this is grass. So these are different types of vegetation. Next, trees. We are also aware of trees as well. So all these are different types of vegetation. So here in natural vegetation, so they grow on their own without interference or help from human beings. Now again, within the forests, based upon the type of trees which grow over there, or based upon the wildlife, wild animals which are present over there, or birds which are present over there. So forests have been divided into various types. So they are tropical evergreen forest, tropical deciduous forest, thorny bushes, mountain vegetation, mangrove forests. Okay, so these different vegetations are very important from your exam point of view, and few of the aspects we will be discussing in this class. And similarly, when we start discussing about the forthcoming that is 7th and 8th geography or 9th geography, we will be exploring all these things in much more detailed manner. Okay, much more detailed manner. So first, tropical rainforest. So let us try to understand what is the difference between tropical rainforest or tropical deciduous forest and all. So this is a tropical rainforest, which is also called as tropical evergreen forest. Tropical rainforest or tropical evergreen forest. And next, this is tropical deciduous forest. So previously what we saw, tropical evergreen forest or tropical rainforest, and this is tropical deciduous forest. Tropical deciduous forest. Now what is the major change that we are witnessing here or we are seeing? So in tropical rainforest that we saw, okay, tropical rainforest or tropical evergreen forest, so occur in areas of very heavy rainfall. So wherever there is heavy rainfall, they occur in such kind of areas. Next, they are so dense that sunlight does not reach the ground. So if you look at this forest, so they are so dense that often sun rays will not reach the ground because of the canopy, wild canopy which is covering it. Next, trees shed their leaves at different time, hence appear green always. So we know that trees, they shed their leaves. There is no such tree which do not shed their leaves. So often trees, they shed their leaves at least once in a year. So when they are shedding their leaves, they do not shed their leaves at one particular time. For example, if there are 10 different trees, tree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 different trees. So this tree will shed its leaves in the month of January. Another will shed its leaves in the month of February. So another will shed its leaves in the month of what? March. So when one is shedding the leaves, the others which are already shedded its leaves might have already regrown what? New leaves. Okay. So now, whenever you look at this tropical rainforest, it will always appear green. It will always appear green in any month, whether it is January or December. Why? Because trees shed their leaves at different point of time. But if you look at tropical evergreen forest, see, look at this tropical deciduous forest. What happens? In one particular season, it is completely green, and in at some other point of time, there are no leaves here. Why? Because all the trees will shed their leaves at same point of time. At same point of time. See here. Trees shed their leaves at particular time of year. So let us assume in the month of March or April, they shed their leaves. So in the month of April, so this is how a tropical deciduous forest appears. So this is the fundamental difference between tropical evergreen forest and tropical deciduous forest. Tropical evergreen forest appears always green, whereas tropical deciduous forest will not always appear green. Okay, will not always appear green, and the major reason behind this is shedding of leaves. Okay, shedding of leaves. Next, in this context, there are few information which become very important from exam point of view. So what are they? The trees which are grown in tropical rainforest and the trees which are grown in tropical deciduous forest. Okay, tropical deciduous forest. Now sometimes UPSC it focuses on question like this. So it will give a particular tree, and in match the following type of questions, it may ask us that this tree is a evergreen forest tree or deciduous forest tree. So we should not get confused. So from this, what we will get to know? We get to know that mahogany, ebony, and rosewood. So they are evergreen forest trees, tropical rainforest trees. Whereas when it comes to sal, teak, peepal, neem, shisham, so these are tropical deciduous forest trees. So these trees are present in deciduous forest. These trees are present in rainforest. So UPSC often asks question on these. So this information is very important. Now many times we know about the common trees, but we don't know about the other trees. So often what we resort to by hearting, but rather than by hearting, I will urge you to go through the images of these trees. Then that will help us to retain the information for a very long period of time. For example, here I have shown you about mahogany. So how does the mahogany look? So mahogany tree will be something like this. Next, ebony. So this is ebony. Next, rosewood. So this is rosewood. Next, if you are not satisfied, I'll ask you to what? Explore more and just look at how exactly they appear. How exactly they appear. This is rosewood. So these were the trees of what? Tropical rainforest. Similarly, tropical deciduous forest trees. So this is sal. This is sal. Next, this is teak. Teak. Next, peepal. Neem. Neem. Next, shisham. Okay, shisham. So very important, very important. So we need to know that which trees are rainforest trees and which trees are deciduous forest trees. Very important. Next, apart from that, UPSC will also focus on aspects like across which all states host tropical rainforest and which all states host tropical deciduous forest. So here exact demarcation will not be possible, but at least at the superficial level, we should know where is tropical rainforest located or where is tropical deciduous forest located. So from this, we will find a tropical rainforest in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So here in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we will find rainforest. Parts of northeastern states. So some parts of northeastern states here. Next, narrow strip of western slope of Western Ghats. So here we know that Western Ghats is spread across 6 states. So some part of the Western Ghats we can find what? We can find tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforest. Now similarly, when it comes to deciduous forest, when it comes to deciduous forest, okay, so where are they present? Madhya Pradesh. So here Madhya Pradesh 1. Next in Uttar Pradesh. Next 3. Bihar. Next Jharkhand. Next Chhattisgarh. Next Odisha and Maharashtra. So in these places we'll find tropical deciduous forests. Now tropical deciduous forests are not confined only to these regions. They may be present across other regions as well, but whatever has been mentioned in the book, at least we should stick to it. So here we will find what? Tropical deciduous forest. So here now we got to know that where all tropical rainforests are found and where all tropical deciduous forests are found. So very important. Next, thorny bushes. Okay. So thorny bushes. So first we'll see where they are found. So thorny bushes we can see generally in the state of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, eastern slopes of Western Ghats and Gujarat. It means these locations: Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, next Gujarat, and few parts of Western Ghats. So here we can find what? Thorny forests. Thorny forests. So here generally thorny bushes we can find in dry areas of the country. So dry areas means where rainfall is very less or very scanty. So here in dry forests or in thorny bushes, what we find? We find leaves in the form of spines. So leaves they appear are in the form of spines. So why they are in the form of spines? To reduce water loss. So as these bushes are present in an area where rainfall is very less, so they require water. So in order to conserve water, so they have certain features, and one important feature among them is leaves being in the form of spines, and the reason is to reduce water loss. To reduce water loss. Next, which are the important bushes of these thorny forests? So very important, we need to know about them. So kher. So the first one is cactus. So this is cactus. Next, if you look at the cactus, see here, so they are in the form of spines. Okay, they are in the form of spines. Very important. Next, kher. So this is kher. Okay, this is kher. Next, babul. Okay, so this is how the babul appears. Next, kikar. Okay, kikar. So this is the most commonly we'll see it everywhere. So it's also called as Prosopis juliflora, and a question was asked on this probably in the year 2020 or 19. Okay, so very important. Okay, very important. So here we saw about the thorny bushes, the various vegetations which are present in thorny bush as part of thorny bush, and where all they are present, and also the adaptations which they have made in order to sustain in an environment where we have less water. Less water. Next, mountain vegetation. So in case of mountain, what happens? In case of mountain, okay, so at this height, the vegetation which is present might be different from the vegetation which is present here. The vegetation, the animals which are present at the height of what 100 meters might be different from the animals or birds which are present at the height of what 200 meters. So vegetation and wildlife varies as we move towards a higher altitude in an what mountain. So that's why in mountain what we'll find a wide range of species found according to variation in height. As the height varies, so species, it may be plants or it may be animals, so they do change. Okay, so with increase in height, temperature falls. We are already aware of this fact. As we go to higher altitude, temperature falls. Next, at height between 1500 and 2500 meters, most trees are conical in shape. So what is conical? Generally the trees will be in this shape. Okay, so trees will be in this shape. So there are some famous conical trees which are there. One is chir, pine, deodar. So here the points that we have to remember from exam point of view. So they'll not ask you exactly from what height to what height, 1500 to 2500, not important. What we need to understand here is in mountain vegetation, as we go to the higher altitudes, the vegetation and the wildlife, they change, and also temperature falls, and the various trees which we witness in mountain vegetation are coniferous trees like chir, pine, deodar. So here again, rather than memorizing or just by hearting, we shall look into the trees. So this is chir. Okay, this is chir. Next, this is pine, and this is deodar. This is deodar. Next, mangrove forests. We'll be discussing about mangrove forests. So if you look at this image, you'll understand that here we have water and here we have what? Vegetation. So the roots are submerged in the water. So generally this happens in case of mangroves. So here the water which is prevalent here, it is saline water. So from this picture, it is very much obvious that these trees can grow in saline water, that is water which has a high content of salt. So such a vegetation which can sustain itself in what? Saline water, we call it as mangrove forests. Mangrove forests, and they are very important from ecosystem point of view. So again, in detailed discussion we will be doing about the mangroves in the forthcoming classes, but at the superficial level we shall focus that they can sustain in an environment where the water is saline. And in India, mangroves are present in multiple states, but two important mangrove areas are Sundarbans in the state of West Bengal and another Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So here we find mangroves. Here we find mangrove vegetation. Okay, mangrove vegetation. Next, what is the importance of forests? How do forests benefit us? So if you look here, so various things have been highlighted here. So forests, they perform various functions. What are they? They release oxygen that we breathe and absorb carbon dioxide. Now for humans sustenance, so the important gas which is required is oxygen. So every day what tons of carbon dioxide, so tons of what oxygen is required. So this oxygen is supplied by plants. So they release oxygen and they consume or absorb carbon dioxide. So in this way, so forests are necessary for human survival. Similarly, roots of the plant bind the soil. So very important. In the absence of plants or vegetation or trees, what happens? If there is no tree, then what happens? Whenever rain occurs or whenever the wind blows, then the soil will be eroded. And the fertility associated with that soil will come down because of the erosion. Because of the plants, because of the trees, what happens? The roots of the trees will hold the soil tightly. So when there will be a rainfall or when there will be a wind, so soil erosion will not take place because of the strong holding of the soil by the roots of the trees. In this way, it will control soil erosion. In this way also it is beneficial. Next, apart from that, it has many benefits. For example, it will provide us medicines, it will provide shelter, especially for us, we require timber for the construction of our house, and the source of timber is forest. Next, fodder, fuel, sports goods, furniture, soil binding as we discussed, rubber, timber, natural habitat for wildlife, so gum and lag, fruits, honey. So there are so many benefits that are being extended by forests to us. So very important. Very important. Next, threats to natural vegetation. What are the threats to natural vegetation? If it is extending so much benefits to us, then what are the threats to it? So it is being destroyed to a large extent. Why? Reckless cutting of trees. So we have seen its benefits that forest will provide us timber. What? To build houses and all. Okay, houses and all. But now, if you are cutting at the very huge faster rate, then what happens? All the forests will become across the globe will become extinct, and it is becoming a what? Major threat. So if you cut the forest, then probably it will not release sufficient oxygen which is required for our survival. So in this way, everything is very much important, and the threat that is presently prevalent to our natural vegetation is destruction to forest. So one example we have given here. So reckless cutting of trees. So there are many other examples as well. So in order to address this problem of this threat, what we can do? We can promote some programs like One Mahotsav. So on One Mahotsav, what we do? So we urge the people to plant new trees. Okay, to plant new trees. So in this way, what we can do? We can conserve our forests. So as the trees are being cut, similarly, if we plant more and more trees, so that can be replenished. The trees that are being cut, that can be replenished with the growth of new trees. So in this way, a balance can be maintained. Next, wildlife. So when we say wildlife, we'll not be referring only to animals or birds. We'll also be referring to what? Vegetation as well. Okay, vegetation as well. So when we say wildlife, it may be animals or reptiles or amphibians, mammals, birds, insects, worms. Okay, anything. So next, few of the animals which do appear, so we should be aware of them. So for example, tiger and lion we are aware, but there are few other animals which appear in the book, but we have never seen them. So rather than just memorizing, I would urge you to go through the images, so that whenever you come across a word, you should be able to connect it with the help of an image, and that will help you to retain the content for a very long period of time. So here, tiger is a national animal, so we are already aware of it. Tiger. Next, Gar forest in Gujarat. So in Gujarat, we have a forest called as Gar forest. In Gar forest, we will find Asiatic lions. Okay, we will find Asiatic lions. And very important point to note, later on we will be discussing once again. So Asiatic lions are present only in the Gar of Gujarat and they are endemic. They are nowhere present across any other country in the world. So very important. Next, elephants. So here elephants are spread across multiple states, but here we have written about the top 3 states, that is Assam, Kerala, Karnataka and Kerala. So out of curiosity, you have to ask yourself, so which state has the highest number of elephants? Similarly, you should do it for lions, you should do it for tiger. So take it as an exercise and find out among Assam, Karnataka and Kerala, which one has the highest number of elephants. And already a question on this has been asked in year 2020. So that's why apart from just plain reading, we need to have that general curiosity, and that curiosity driven extra information has to be added in order to align ourselves with the demand of the examination. Next, one-horned rhinoceros. So most of us, we might have not seen one-horned rhinoceros, but here this is one-horned rhinoceros. So where it is present? It is present in the northern part of India and predominantly in the state of Assam. We find one-horned rhinoceros in Assam. Next, camels. So camels, where they are found? They are found in western part of India, especially the Great Indian Desert. Next, wild ass. So camel we have seen. So this is wild ass. So wild ass, where do we find? Run of Kutch. So where is Run of Kutch? Gujarat. So very important. Now in exam we may find a question like match a following type of question, wherein they will ask you wild ass and they will associate it with northeast. So whether in northeast do we find wild ass? No. So wild ass, they are found in Run of Kutch, that is western part of India, in the state of Gujarat. Next, out of curiosity, you also need to know about what animals found in Himalayan region. So which are the animals found in Himalayan region? Wild goat, snow leopards and bears. Okay. Wild goat, it appears like this. Next, snow leopards. Next, bear. Okay, bear. So these are the animals found in Himalayan range. Okay, Himalayan range. Next, jackal. Other animals found in the country. So what is jackal? So fox itself. Okay, it's called as jackal. Okay, it is jackal. Next, nilgai. This is nilgai, and this is cheetal. So very important here, cheetal is different from cheetah. So very often we get confused. So cheetal is a type of deer, whereas cheetah is this. So cheetah is extinct from India, whereas cheetal, it is present. So here we need to understand the difference. Often we get confused. So this is cheetal and this is cheetah. Next, birds. So birds we have seen. This is peacock. Next, parrot. We know about parrot, pigeon, myna, bulbul, ducks. Okay, so here we'll see them. Parrot. This is pigeon. Pigeon. Next, myna or common myna. Next, this is bulbul. This is duck. Okay, this is duck. Next, snakes and cobras. Snakes varieties are cobras and kraits. So this is an image of cobra and this is an example of krait. Okay, krait, a type of snake. Next, national parks and sanctuaries and biosphere reserves have been set up for their protection. A very important topic. National parks, sanctuaries and biosphere reserves. So already we have created a separate video with respect to national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves and Ramsar wetlands. So I'll urge you to go through that video and understand the various national parks, biosphere reserves, sanctuaries, tiger reserves and Ramsar wetlands that have been established in India for the protection of wildlife. Okay, for protection of wildlife. Next, one should refuse to buy things made from parts of the bodies of animals such as their bones, horns, fur, skins and feathers. So here, in order to protect the wildlife, so often these animals are hunted. Why? Because they are in demand. So the extracts of these animals will be used to make some kind of products. So if the customers, if they stop buying the products made out of the animals, then obviously the demand for those animals will come down and hunting or poaching will come down, and obviously we can protect the wildlife. So this point can be noted. Next, Wildlife Week, celebrated every year in the first week of October to create awareness. So out of curiosity, we should know that in the first week of October, every year we celebrate Wildlife Week. Next, migratory birds. So again, this is a very important topic. So here are few of the animals we have listed, birds we have listed: pelican, Siberian crane, stork, flamingo, pin-tailed duck, osprey, little stint, and curlew. So they migrate to our country in winter season every year. So very important. So in exam, they may ask a question like this. They may give you one of the bird and they may ask you that it migrates to India in summer season or winter season or rainy season. So it migrates to India in winter season. Next, this Siberian crane, it comes to India from Siberia. So they arrive in December and they stay till March. So after March, again, they'll return back to Siberia. So important. Next, little stint. So little stint, it is the smallest migratory bird weighing as low as 15 gram. So the birds may be as lighter as 15 gram and they come from Arctic region. Okay, traveling 8,000 kilometers to reach India. So very important, because where is Arctic region present and where is India present? There is a huge distance here. So close to 8,000 kilometers. So it will travel 8,000 kilometers. So very important. So they may ask you, giving a little stint as an example, from where does it migrate? From Arctic region. Okay, from Arctic region. During which season? During winter season. Now next, we may not get a clear idea, but at least we need to know how exactly these birds appear. So these are the images. This is Siberian crane, pelican. Next, stork, flamingo, pin-tailed duck, osprey, little stint, and curlew. So in this class, we discussed about what? India's vegetation, climate, and wildlife. So similarly, in the forthcoming classes, we will be discussing about the other important topics related to UPSC. For all our further updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.